Today, we're moving past, the standard holiday checklist. We're tackling a really unique design challenge. How do you introduce all that warmth and exuberance of festive decor without destroying the clean integrity of modern architecture?
Right.
We're talking about those homes built with very intentional materials: concrete, steel, glass, wood, where restraint is usually the name of the game.
It is the ultimate tightrope walk. You're right to frame it that way. Our mission today, based on these sources, is to really extract the playbook for creating what we're calling a seasonal overlay.
A seasonal overlay. I like that.
The space has to feel celebratory, layered, and warm, but, and this is the key, while preserving the architectural clarity.
So enhancement.
Exactly. Enhancement. Any choice that competes with the structure or, makes the space feel smaller is a failure. It's that simple.
Okay, so let's unpack this blueprint.
Yeah.
We're not just listing pretty things, we're defining principles. The sources lay out 4 foundational pillars we need to master: light, material harmony, intentional furniture, and curated surfaces.
Let's start right at the foundation, light and materials. For these specific homes, single-story, lots of concrete, steel, expansive glass, the original architecture is just paramount.
It is.
How does that foundation interact with seasonal decoration?
Well, light is the fundamental solvent here. If you have concrete and steel as your anchors, light is what keeps them from feeling cold, oppressive even.
Right.
The sources stress this over and over. You have to maximize natural daylight. So those floor-to-ceiling wooden doors, the massive windows, they're not just features, they are structural necessities that you have to celebrate.
It's because they let the light just flood in.
They let it flood in. And it's not just about brightness. It's about watching the sun wash across these textured walls and surfaces. It creates movement, vibrancy, and that's critical before you add a single decoration.
So we need to focus on what that light is actually hitting, what it's highlighting. Exactly. The light has to play across the tactile qualities of the home. Think about the sun accentuating the imperfections in exposed concrete, or the grain in a wood beam, or the cool smoothness of stone flooring.
Okay.
When the light is already doing that much work, the space feels inherently welcoming. It means your festive decor doesn't have to work so hard to inject warmth.
And I find the connection to the outdoors fascinating here. It's not just a window. It's framed as an extension of the room.
It absolutely is. I mean, one of the biggest mistakes people make is decorating the inside without even acknowledging the outside. That visual connection to the garden or the lawn, it acts as a kind of fourth wall for the living room. It expands the space, makes it feel open, breathable, and connected to nature.
But practically speaking, why is that continuity so vital when you bring in something like Christmas decorations?
Because festive decor, just by its very nature, it introduces visual density. Complexity.
Right, it's a lot.
It's a lot. And if the interior already feels trapped or dense, the decorations will just become overwhelming fast. By keeping that sightline clear to the outside, you maintain the architectural integrity. You stop the room from sort of collapsing in on itself under the weight of all that seasonal stuff.
Okay, so let's move into making the space comfortable.
Yeah.
We're going from the hard shell of the building to the pieces that anchor the living area. The sources insist on designer seating, clean forms, but how do you avoid that feeling of, a chic but totally uncomfortable gallery?
That's where the material choice is so important. The forms of the furniture, yes, they have to stay clean to respect the architecture, but you introduce the warmth through tactile fabrics.
Tactile.
The key insight here is that when you have these highly reflective materials like steel and glass, these matte and textured fabrics are necessary to absorb light and sound. They create a resting point both for the eyes and the ears.
Oh, so it's not just about what looks soft, it's an acoustic function too against a concrete box.
Precisely. You need materials that invite you to touch them, that give you visual relief. That's why you see things like boucle with that loop structure that softens light, or deep velvet, or linen blends with the coarse weave. They're practical choices.
Now here's where it gets really interesting for me.
Yeah.
Introducing festive color. If we're all about restraint, how do you bring in traditional reds or golds without just destroying a minimalist palette?
You use them as highly saturated small-scale accents. The goal isn't to change the room's color, it's to create seasonal richness through strategic placement.
So, not a red wall.
God, no. No, these colors live almost entirely in soft furnishings. Get a small stack of cushions, a really textured throw draped over a chair, maybe something on a footstool. The richness of the color itself creates the impact, not the volume.
The sources even give a specific palette: Gold, sapphire, ivory, deep red, champagne tones. Why those colors in this type of environment?
They all share, well, two key things: depth and a kind of inherent luxury. They are rich, deep tones. They're not bright primary colors, you'll notice. They complement the texture of natural wood and the coolness of concrete. Gold is often used in a matte finish to avoid harsh reflections. Colors like sapphire and deep red, they provide that necessary visual counterpoint to the neutral shell. You're layering sophistication on top of sophistication.
Okay, moving beyond the big furniture pieces, let's talk walls and surfaces. The sources say every surface needs to be curated to prevent visual emptiness. That sounds like a lot of pressure in a big open room.
It's discipline, not pressure. In these spaces, a plain, smooth wall can feel sterile. So you rely on textured walls, maybe lime plaster or concrete panels or stone finishes, to add character from the start.
And then you curate on top of that.
Then curation takes over. Strategic art, a large-scale mirror to reflect light and expand the space, decorative panels. You're just distributing the visual weight so the eye doesn't get lost in a cold expanse.
So how do we apply that same discipline to the actual festive elements?
Restrained layering, that's the key phrase. A festive garland, a wreath, subtle lights. This should be applied in a way that respects the architecture's lines.
So a garland might just trace a beam, for example.
Exactly that. It traces a beam or a window frame instead of being draped everywhere. It clearly signals the holiday season, but it feels like an enhancement of the geometry, not a disruptive blanket.